Yo, it's good job. Choosing here. I want to talk about the Looming AI threat. So what I want to get into is basically the quickly approaching era of AI almost ruling everything or being able to dip into everything pretty much. Because this could be one of the most devastating eras, or this can be one of the most transformative eras that we've gone through as human beings. I'm saying from ex Google associates making a sentient AI to AI art creation to AI blog posts with cohesive reports. I'm saying with the way these things are advancing and our technical knowledge is going to greater heights, we can see sentient AI robots possibly in the next few years. It's almost crazy how much it is transformed from the first time we mention it, and it even gets into sci-fi movies where we've been introduced to this idea so many times before. It kind of goes to beg the question, like, what can we expect from AI? Because in a lot of the motion sensors and a lot of things we use today, it has a form of AI, so to speak, where it can find things for us, but it doesn't move on its own. It can't do its own things. But with new information and new discoveries, they're making sentient AI where the AI can do tasks on its own. You know what I'm saying? Even with coding, and so much goes into that on its own, but it almost feels like a threat, or almost feels like we're moving into a whole different era where these things can take so much from us. They can take people's jobs, but would it help us, or would it help different people, or would it not even help them? You know what I'm saying? It's just the way they're advancing, they can do so much more. And like I mentioned before, you know what I'm saying, AI art and AI blog posts, these are actually AI art taking these creations and taking these reports and making cohesive reports with things you input into the AI, where you can say, hey, this artist and this landscape, it don't make that. You can say, AI, add this into the blog post where it says, you know what I'm saying, talk about this topic and blame this, or talk about this and do this, and it can do that and make it actually make sense. And with that, it kind of adds the degree of fear as to, if these things can do this, what can they go as far further to understand if our knowledge on us as human beings is on, you know what I'm saying, this interface. They can take that and use that against us in a type of way. Not, you know what I'm saying, knock on wood, not to put that out there, but it's just because these things can be so sentient and so, you know what I'm saying, radicalized and have so much knowledge, it's almost as scary. It gives you fear thinking about what can this bring from AI, artificial intelligence. What can it bring? And if we're making self-driving cars, that has to have a level of degrees to, you know what I'm saying, self-run, self-diagnose, things like that. Robots, we're seeing a lot of robots pop up. Robots have to have a self programs to be able to run. And you just can't help but think sci-fi, with so many things that happen in sci-fi movies about AI. What can happen in the real world? Because realistically, we have to have realistic boundaries, because those things can happen if we want them to, because we can portray them on the screen, but is it real enough to happen to us in our real setting? You know what I'm saying? So that's the question that begs up. You know what I'm saying? It's just, can we see something that can happen in a sci-fi movie happen in real life? I have doubts about that, but also with how quickly we're approaching into this era, I'm not feeling those doubts anymore. Another question that pops up though is, have we reached this point before in a whole different era in the past? Have we reached this point already with the things that we have already, where a lot of these things can function on their own, but they can't, you know what I'm saying, do the things themselves like AI can? And it kind of makes you think about, do we already have a certain degree of artificial intelligence? Because we kind of do with, things like Siri, Cortana, things like that, where you call the name of this creation, this program, and it can find anything you're looking for. So that has a degree, and it can respond back to you. That is a degree of AI. And we're just thinking more sentient, where it can function on its own. You can have a conversation with it. It can do more than just, the program that we set up. Because a program is a certain degree of AI. But once you have it into a certain, there's something that makes it different when it's sentient, or when it's real artificial intelligence, where it can pop those things up without it having to be, program. It just can kind of do it on its own. It runs its own programs, pretty much runs its own diagnostics. Will we see something like that in this coming future? And I believe we're almost scratching the surface of the futuristic sci-fi movies that we've seen. So we can't, probably in the next few years, we'll start seeing those things that we've seen in sci-fi movies. But right now, we're just scratching the surface. We're just getting to the bugs, or figuring things out. They're working on things, though. We're having news pop up from these things. You know what I'm saying? So we can see things popping up probably in the next 5 to 10 years of all this being more normal to us. And it really depends on how much it helps us, how we feel, what it can do. Will it affect us? Will it be a threat? Things like that come to mind. And I also come to think, like, could we see cyborgs or androids from AI produced programs? From the programs we produce and create AI, will we be able to become cyborgs or androids of any sort? Will we be able to be, incorporate ourselves with technology and have a sense of AI with us at all times, where the AI and us can become together? That gets very dicey, of course, but this is all just think pieces to me, because this is a very interesting topic, and it does bring a little bit of fear, but at the same time, I can see a lot of things can come from this, but it does bring a good amount of fear, honestly. Then we also get into the talks of longer longevity, soul talk, as I want to call it. So I'm gonna have a series, or probably a talk on this in another video, probably coming into this next year, where I want to talk about, longer longevity, kind of bringing AI programs, science, just, I want to call it soul talk. We're going to talk about the soul, where I can think of all this stuff where we can become cyborgs and androids and things like that, but we still have a soul. And I don't think that soul will mix well with anything we try to do in trying to, extend our life, or add tech to keep our body running. Because once it's time for this, this other energy in us to leave, it's going to leave when it's, the body is not capable of holding it anymore, I believe. But that's a whole different thing. But I just want to think about, hey, if we're making AI, can the AI be able to, incorporate tech into our body to be able to keep us here a little bit longer? And I feel that they have done things like that, where they can use, animals, living animals as well too. But can we create a fake artificial heart out of technology and put that into our bodies, as we do with other things, where we have, metal implemented into us at times? Will we be able to make metal that can, act as organs? Because if we're going to be able to do that with robots and cyborgs and androids and whatnot, and AI, so to speak, because an AI would be so smart, it can be able to do these things and know all this stuff to be able to, diagnose itself and maybe diagnose us to see, hey, what's wrong with them? How can we do this? It's a crazy topic, and I wanted to talk to y'all about this, and we can get into this more and more. This is probably just the first 2 videos, because these are coming out the same day. These are the first 2 videos I wanted to bring up and talk to y'all about, where it's this is a scary thing. It's kind of a threat, but at the same time, you can see so many things being fulfilled from this certain thing. But You know what I'm saying? There's going to be more to come. Look out for Soul Talk when it drops. And with that, y'all, I'm be out. It's been choosing. Peace.